Hello everybody, my name is Asanumbia. Today I'm going to talk about a very important topic which talk about truck loading, right? Or trailer loading. There are a lot of accidents which has been occur all over the world. So people need to take a lot of things or checklists into consideration how to check most of these vehicle, especially the trailers. So most of these checklists, it can help or prevent accidents from occurring, right? So how are they going to check this vehicle? I'm going to measure about 26 points, 26 checklist points which can help someone or a company owners or a driver to check his vehicle to minimize accident. Number one, you have to check for the size of the vehicle. If the items that you want to place on the vehicle, if it's suitable to be fit in this car or in this truck, right? So you have to check for that. That is checklist number one. Then number two says, is the deck of the vehicle or the trailer, is it cleared or clean? So you have to check whether it's clear and clean before you can put another items on top of these trailers, right? Then point number three, you have to check for the size of the vehicle. If the size is okay, that this item can fit in this vehicle, then you have to proceed to do that, right? Then point number four, you have to check whether this vehicle, if the load is more heavier than the vehicle, or if the load is more heavier, the tires are down, then you have to check for this thing. You have to remove the load from that one. Then point number five, it says if the load are scattered or the load are heavy, right? You should always put them at the bottom. So that simply means that when the loads are heavy, you have to put the one which are heavy, you put them in the bottom. Then you put the lighter one on top, right? That is checklist number five. Then number six says, a heavier item load near to the longitude center. Where is the longitude center of the vehicle? The longitude center of the vehicle means it's the middle part of the vehicle, right? So the middle part of the vehicle, all heavy items should be placed in the middle side, not the side. Because why accidents occur, sometimes you see a vehicle just slants like this and fell down, it's because of the heavier items, it's on the side of the vehicle. So you have to make sure that every items that is heavier, you put it middle of the vehicle. So the space middle, the middle of the vehicle, it will help the vehicle to be in a static position, not like lingering all around, right? When it's be in the middle, it helps the vehicle to stay at the center, right? Then point number six says a strong item place in front of the weak items. So this simply means that no, it should place under the weak items, right? Then what are the things that you're supposed to check in point number six? You have to check whether the items is light items up and heavy package on the bottom. No, it should not be heavy items on the bottom, it should be heavy items on top. Then also you have to place all heavy items on top, right? You have to also place heavy items in the longitude area, which is the middle. You have to place this item. Then also you have to place strong items in front of the weaker one, right? Then number seven says, are any of these load exceeding any of the following dimension, that is 4.8 or 3.5 millimeter wide. So this simply means that all the items, it should not be above the car, right? Or above the truck or the trailer. It cannot be above it. It has to be on the equilibrium, right? Then point number 8 says, are the load in every position across the vehicle, right? So the load should be at the equilibrium of the vehicle, right? Then do not overload a vehicle. You should never overload the vehicle. Then do not reduce the weight on the steering axis. The steering axis is the middle of the vehicle, right? You should arrange them nicely. Then you have to make sure that you place all load in front and back of the side of the weights, or you have to place them like one item. If you have two items, you have to place one in front and one backward, so the weight should be level, right? Then point number 9 is, you should ask this question: is there any load or load projecting or dangerous towards the cabin side? So that simply means that whenever you place a load on a vehicle, right, you should make sure that all sharp objects should not be in front, it should not penetrate to the driver position. Because if it penetrates to the driver position, let's say a driver stop a vehicle immediately, because of the sharp items, maybe the sharp item will just ride down and hit the driver, right? So you always make sure that the sharp element, the sharp items of that you loaded, if you have like a pipe, the pipe should turn backward, right, for safety precautions, right? Then point number 10 say it's long pipe, right? If it's long pipe, transportations and damage used to restrain. So this simply means that you have to tie all of these pipe together. You have to make sure that you tie the pipe all together to protect it from moving around. So you have to tie the pipe in every trailer if you are carrying a pipe. Then point number 11 say restrain or tie the load on the vehicle. You have to tie the load in your vehicle, right? Then point number 12 say tie down the strap, right, should be 50 millimeter. So this simply means that you have to tie the strap, right? You have to tie it across your vehicle so it cannot move from one end to another end. Then point number 13 say do make sure, you always have to make sure that there is enough lashes and that they are in good condition, right? Lashes means that the things that you use to tie a vehicle, you have to tie it properly and you have to check whether they are in good condition, right? Then point number 15 says you have to make sure that the lashes are directly attached to the load or on the wheel, right? So you have to tie them like you tie in a load in your vehicle. You have to tie it across the wheel side, so for it to be safer, right? Then point number 16 says that you are the lashes protect, use a sharp edge. So that simply means that there's sharp edge of the lashes. Let's say like if you tie your vehicle, you have a rope. The rope is called lash. If you tie it on a rope or you tie it on the vehicle edge should not be sharp. If the vehicle edge be sharp, it will start hitting, gliding, then it will cut on the way. Then that one will lead to accident. So you always make sure that you put something like a rubber under for it to protect, for it not to be like, let's say if it can keep on hitting, cutting, right, gliding, it can lead to it can cut, then it can lead to accident. So you have to make sure that you put rubber on it, right? Then okay, point number 18, you have to check whether you have an extra chain. If you have another extra chain or rope, right, you have to tie it very nicely then before you can tie the main items like pipe, you understand? Then point number 19, you have to inspect all chains, right, and belts. If you are using chain or belt, you have to inspect those things. It's very important whether they are in good condition. If there is a good condition, then you can use it, right? So these are inspection lists, right? You have to also check the diameter. You also check the if it has any cut on it. If there is a like if there is a chain, if the chain is bruised or if something is cut, you have to check all those things, right? Then point number 20, you have to ensure that the brake of your vehicle is very good, right? You have to make sure that the brake of your vehicle is very good, right? Or then also you have to check you have to make sure that you tie all losing load in your vehicle. You have to tie all this load that is in your vehicle. Then if you have a pallet, right, you know what is a pallet? The pallet is like a board. If there is a pallet, you have to make sure that you tie a pallet very strong and hard in the middle of the vehicle, the trailer. You have to tie it there very tightly, because why we are saying this thing, for you to tie every items that you have in your vehicle, it can help the vehicle it can help the items that you are having in a vehicle from not moving from one side and to the other. If you tie it in the middle, so and the longitude of the vehicle, so your vehicle will be at a safer space. If maybe you are at speed, you brake, these items that you have in back of your vehicle will not come in front, and maybe it can lead to accidents, right? Then point number 3 and 23, you have to make sure that all these pallets are arranged, right? If it cannot block the dashboard, right? If it cannot, they all should be in a rag, right? Then point number 22 says that in some cases it may be necessary to divide the load into 2 or more stakes to crown if it's effective, right? So the lash, you should use a lash also to tie it very nicely, right? Then point number 3 says that you should have a separate lash made from each roll or coil, right? You should have a separate lash that you use. If you tie one load in one space, you make sure that you tie it like 3 times. It will be very necessary, right? Then point number 24 talk about transportation loading, right? Transportation loading. Then point number 25 says, are any twist or lock engaged in these transportation containers? Like if you have a big containers, right, you have to make sure that you put a lock. There is a lock that you can put on both of the side of the container, right? Then also point number 26 says, where the building cannot be where the building cannot be blocked again, the headboard, right? So the headboard of the vehicle should not be blocked. Like where you look behind, it should not be blocked. Your mirrors or these things, all items that you have in the vehicle should not block these things, right? Then point 27 says, where the twist lock are not fitting in empty container cannot be restrained. So that simply means that you have to tie this container. If you have a container or a house that you want to, like those portable house you want to put back of your cars, your container or your trailers, you should make sure that you tie them in 4 ways. You tie them in 4 ways for you to protect it from not moving from one end to another. So what I'm saying all here is all about safety precautions, things that can protect your vehicle and protect the life of people that are around that area. So if you use these precautions or this precaution in loading vehicle or truck, it's very necessary to take all of these things into consideration. Check your brake and check other things, how you tie your items that you have in your car. So I'm going to highlight some of the questions that you're supposed to ask yourself, about 10 questions. Number 1 question says, is the load are properly tied by the vehicle and the load are secure or equipment are secure? That is number 1. Number 2 says that a vehicle load restrained, that the vehicle tie, the structure attached, and also the loads are secure in the equipment, that the serviceable and functionable. This thing means that if the loads are very tight in a good way. Then point number 3 says the vehicle loads are restrained in a structure or attached, or the load secure equipment are suitable for the application. Then point number 4 is the size or the type of the vehicle or the position of the vehicle can handle the load that you want to put in the vehicle, right? Then question number 5 say you have to check the load. If the load can be fit or can be tied in the vehicle or the truck that you want to load this item. If the item can fit in that truck, you have to ask yourself that question. right? Then you have to check the load. Every time that you remove any items from the truck, you have to check the load, or you have to go like 1, 2, 3, 4 mile. You have to check whether the load are in good condition in the back of your vehicle, right? Then point number 8, you have to do visual inspection on the chains and the hook. If you have any chains that you use to chain the vehicle, you chain the items that you have behind your vehicle, you have to inspect if they are still in a good condition, right? Then point number 9, you have to check the chains and the strap. You have to check them. Then also point number 10, you have to do inspection of chain and strap and the hook for any damage, right? So all what I'm saying here is those are the things that we're supposed to check for in vehicle, in bigger trucks, most of these big trucks, right? So most of the trucks that are moving from one city to others, so these are the things that they're supposed to check for. So I'm bringing all of these things to people to understand that these are things that they're supposed to check for in every truck or trailers, right? Because this one can help to save lives. And if someone have his transportation company, or you are working for every big organization that have transportation, or every industries or company or factories that have their own vehicles, so these are the safety precautions they have to look for. So I stop here. Thank you very much for listening to my videos, and hope you subscribe, and I'll be making more video. Thank you all.